Okay, let's start on function modules. So function module is one of the modularization unit. So where it can execute independently. Okay, we can execute function modules independently. Can we execute include programs and subroutines independently? We can only execute through a program. So when we add include program or subroutine to a executable program, then only we can execute the code whatever inside the those modulation units. What about function module? Function module is global, so right? It is one of the modularization unit. It is global. We can call function module in any program or in another function module. Okay, and it can execute independently. We can execute it by passing the inputs, and it will return the output. Okay. Okay. So function modules can accept the input and return the output. So you can pass input to the function modules and return output. Okay. Now, to create a function module, there is one prerequisite to create a function module. The transaction code is SC37. The function module creation transaction code is SC37. But to create a function module, we need one special object that is called function group. Sorry. Sorry. So what is the use of this function group? It it groups the related function module. Okay. Function module is to organize or group the related function modules together. Okay. So all the related function modules are going to share. So all the function modules available in the function group shares the global data. We've discussed, right, global variables, local variables. So whatever the global data available, all these function modules which we group together in a function group can share that data. Okay, clear? What is the purpose of function group? To
Group the
group the
module.
relevant or related function modules. Okay, for example, there will be a group which is used for sales order related function modules. There will be a group which is related to purchase order related function modules. So we group relevant function modules in a function group so that common data can be shared between all these function modules, whichever whatever the data available globally. Okay, right? So when you are assigning a function group or to a function module, so please make sure that there is no syntax errors in any one function module available in the group. For example, you assigned 10 function modules to one function group. In one of the function module, there is some syntax error and it is not active. Can we access the remaining 9 function modules?
No.
No, it won't. If there is any issue, it won't allow you to execute. So make sure that all the function modules are active and consistent. Okay. Now, there are three different types of function modules. Very important interview question. Normal function module or regular function module. Okay, normal function module or regular function module. Second one, remote enabled function module. Third one, update function module. Okay, update function module. Okay, so what is the purpose of three different function modules? Regular function module can be called only within the same SAP system. Okay, within the same SAP system. For example, currently we are accessing S4 HANA 2023 system, right? If you create any normal function module, you can call that function module only within the S4 HANA 2023 system. You cannot call that in a ECC system because ECC is a different system, right? So these kind of function modules which we use locally within the same system, we call them as normal function modules or regular function modules. We cannot call these function modules from the external systems. Okay. What is special about RFC or remote enabled function module? In short, we call it as RFC. Okay, remote function calls can be called from the other SAP systems and external non-SAP systems. Let's say there is some third-party application, some Java application using for a specific functionality where that needs to access data available in SAP. Okay, how the third-party application can access the data in SAP? So we create a RFC function module and we provide that function module so that they can call that function module in their system to access the SAP data. Okay, for this there is some prerequisite that is called RFC destination. Okay, RFC destination is okay, destination in the sense it's kind of connection. Okay, RFC destination is required to call the RFC function module. Is everyone clear about RFC and normal function module? Is everyone clear about it?
Yes, sir.
When we need to call function module from the external system, we design that function module as a RFC function module. Okay, that function module can be called only within the same system. We create that function module as RFC,
Normal.
normal function module. Okay, to call function module from the external systems or other SAP system. For example, if we need to call one function module, for example, we have two systems, S4 HANA and ECC, right? There is some requirement to access the data available in S4 HANA system from ECC. ECC system need that data. How that can communicate with S4 HANA? So in S4 HANA, we create a RFC function module. By using that RFC function module, ECC system can call it and get that data into ECC system. Okay, as output. Okay, so what is update function module? What is the use of update function module? Update function modules are used to create update data to multiple database tables. Only all the DB operations are successfully completed. Let's say we need to create data into sales order related tables. For example, you are creating a sales order in BA01. In how many tables the data is going to be stored? Whatever the data we create, multiple tables, right? Like VBAK, VBAP, right? And there are VBRK, VBFA. There are different sales order tables which are going to store that sales order related information. When these tables should be updated or created? When all the operations are successful. For example, billing related data is failed to create. Should we create a sales order? No, we should stop the entire process. You should not save half the data, right? If there is any issue in creation, you should not store data in any of the table. You should completely stop the operation. That how can you make sure that? By using update function modules, we can achieve that to update multiple database tables within the same time when all the operations are successful. If any one table operation is failed, we should not create data in any of the table. So for that reason, we use update task function modules or update function modules. Okay, it combines the DB changes into one logical unit of work. In short, we call it as LUW, logical unit of work. What does this logical unit of work? Whatever the database changes or operations right, occurred in a specific time frame. So this logical unit of work handles all the database operations occurred at specific point of time. Okay. So when this logical unit of work will complete, when all the database operations are completed successfully, this logical unit of work will end. Okay. That database operations can be create, read, update, or delete. Okay. So when this logical unit of work will be completed, commit work. Commit work is to commit the changes to database tables, right? Commit the changes to database tables. When the commit work is executed, it will complete the logical unit of work and updates all the tables. Okay. So when the update function module will execute,
Execute after the commit work.
only after the commit work. So what is the use of commit work? It will complete the logical unit of work. Commit work statement will complete the logical unit of work and commit all the changes to database tables. What is the other thing we use to revert, roll back? This is to revert the changes. Okay, roll back work we use to revert the database changes, right? So when the update function module will execute, when the commit work statement is executed. So when you execute a program, by default, one commit work statement will execute. After program execution is completed, by default, system will execute one commit work. Okay, or you can also trigger commit work by using this commit work statement. Okay, so what is the purpose of update function module? To make sure all the database tables operations are successfully completed. Then only create or update the data into database tables. Otherwise, stop the process. Don't create data into any database table. We should stop everything. Okay? Is everyone clear? Okay?
Sir, so update function module is completely for at database level only, right?
Yes, when we use any database table updates, we need to make sure when this function module should execute only after specific point of time. That means all the changes are completed successfully. Then only we use update function module. By using update function module, what we can make sure all the database changes committed together or roll back together, either create or stop it all together. Not like we are not going to create in any one table or two tables, right? If everything is successful, create in all tables, otherwise stop the process. Okay, so the example where we use update function modules are in general in the projects, enhancements, when DB changes are required to call inside the enhancements. Okay, we use update function modules because what we need to do after database operation, for example create or update, we need to execute commit work, right, to commit the changes. Yes or no?
Yes.
If you do commit work, it will complete the logical unit of work and it will save tables partially, like only create data into only few tables. In the next step, there might be some error, right? So we should stop the entire process. But if you use commit work, it will complete the logical unit of work and create data into few tables. In next step, if there is any error, there is no chance of roll back the previous tables, right? So to make sure all the tables are successful, then we use a update function module. Okay, it's very important interview question. You're going to get at least 2 to 3 interview questions from these types of function modules, RFC and update task function module. Okay,
What
how
is
to?
logical unit of work?
Yeah, logical unit of work is collection of database operations happened at specific point of time. You might be updating 10 tables, right? So before executing commit work, whatever the changes you do, for example, you updated 20 database tables or you created records into 10 database tables. All these database operations considered as a one logical unit of work, right? Once you execute the commit work statement, it will end the logical unit of work and commit all the changes to database tables. Okay,
Okay, sir.
clear?
Okay.
So whatever the database operations happens before commit work, we consider that as one logical unit of work. Okay, when the logical unit of work will be completed?
Commit.
When commit work is executed. Okay, it will end the logical unit of work and confirm all the changes to database. Is everyone clear? Is everyone clear on this?
Yes, sir.
How to call a function module? If it is normal function module, we call like this. Okay, and pass the relevant inputs and outputs. How to call remote enabled function module? Call function module name and we need to provide the RFC destination address. Okay, the connection details here. Okay, from which system we need to call this RFC destination defines it. Okay, are you going to call this RFC from source system or target system?
Target.
Target system. Okay, we need to create this in the source system. We need to call this from the target system. Okay, by using this RFC function module, you can either display the data, change the data, or create the data in SAP system from external systems. Okay, it's kind of API. Okay, is everyone clear? How to call update function module? Call function module name in update task. When you mention this update task, so what will happen? Whatever the logic you maintained inside this function module, when that going to be executed?
Commit work after commit.
Only after
Comment.
commit work statement. Okay, so whatever the logic you mentioned inside this function module is going to execute. Okay, is everyone clear?
Sir, as you mentioned, a logical unit of work is a collection of this.
Database operations or database changes.
So if any one operation got failed, then this won't work, right?
Yes, we are not going to execute commit work, right?
Okay.
We'll do rollback work.
Okay, sir.
Then all the table changes will be reverted, right?
Okay.
So logical unit of work, nothing but sequence of database operations. Okay, until commit work is executed. Either you can complete the logical unit of work successfully by executing commit work, or terminate the logical unit of work by executing which one?
Roll.
Rollback.
Good work.
Okay. So logical unit of work is sequence of database operations. It is also very important interview question.
Database operations comes like create, update, delete.
Delete, right?
Okay.
Okay. Rollback work. Okay. It's very important interview question. RFC, update function modules are very, very important interview questions. Okay. And logical unit of work. In example, they'll ask you when you are going to use update task function module. Give me an example. When we need to make sure all the database changes are completed, then only we need to insert data into all the tables. If any one table is failed, we should not allow rest of the tables. At the time, we go for update function modules. Real-time example, we use update task function modules when we need to update database tables inside the enhancements. Okay, we have a concept called enhancements. Within the standard applications, we do enhancements, right? I'll give you an example when we are working on the enhancements topic. Okay, now let's go back to our function module creation topic. What is a transaction code to create a function module?
SC30.
SC37. Okay, SC37. What is prerequisite to create a function module?
Function group.
A function group is necessary.
Sir,
Let's
only for enhancements, or can we modify database records as well?
no, no, not only for enhancements, for different purpose, like where you need to make sure all the database changes should go together. Okay, only when all the operations are successful, then we keep that logic inside update function module and we execute it. Not
Okay.
only in enhancements. Okay, I'm
Okay.
just giving you an example where we use update function modules. Okay,
Okay.
in general, in projects, right, to create any data, you're not going to keep data in one single table, right? For
Yes.
example, you are creating a sales order, you are going to distribute the data into multiple tables, right? So we need to make sure all the data is successfully created in all database tables. Otherwise, we should not allow that change or insertion. We should fail the transaction. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Now, how to create a function module? Let me open the server. Tomorrow we'll take one hands-on session. So please be prepared for that, everyone. Uh, so I'll ask random topics. So you have to share your screen and create one example on it. Okay. Don't worry, I'll assist you, but you have to lead that. Okay. Whatever the topics we discussed so far. Is everyone able to see SAP server?
Yes, sir.
What is the transaction code to create function module?
SC37.
SC37. Okay, sorry. Can we directly create function module like this? What is the prerequisite to create a function module?
Function group should be there.
It will ask for a function group. What is the use of function group?
Group the related function.
Similar
To
function
group the
model.
related or relevant function modules. Okay. For example, we are creating some function modules related to tax calculation. We use one single function group for all the function modules. If function group is already created and available, use that function group. You can search existing function groups or create your own function group. How to create a function group? First, let's create a function group. Go to menu, you can find function groups option. Create group. Provide meaningful name, demo, FM. I'm just giving this name to my function group. Demo function group. Do we need to create function group for every function module?
For similar or
No,
related.
sir.
Yeah. You can use existing function group for related function modules. Okay. But when you don't want to create any dependency between two function modules, right? Then assign a different function group. Because if you assign same function group, what will happen? You cannot change parallelly. Two developers cannot change the two different function modules parallelly because they share the common function. Also, if there is any inconsistencies in the one function module, the other function module is also not going to work. Where we used function groups earlier,
Table maintain generator.
Table
yes,
TM.
in table maintenance generators, we used the function group. So there we automatically generated the function groups. Function group is created. ZDemo FM, right? But is it active?
No, sir.
Go to function groups, display function groups. ZDemo underscore FM. It is inactive. What we need to do? We need to activate this. To activate this, what we need to do? We have two options. Either go to master program. You need to activate all these includes also. It is automatically generating these includes. Okay. One top include and one function module include. One top include and one function module include. All the global declarations will be available in this top include program. Okay. You're already aware of include programs, right? So this second include contains one separate include program for each function module. When you create a function module, right, it will generate one separate include program for each function module. In this function module include automatically. Okay, you need to make sure all these are active. Okay, this is active. This is inactive. Activate this. Maybe we need to activate together. Change it. Contains syntax errors. Maybe it is not active. Activate this. It is active. What about function module include? It is active. Now try to activate the master program. So master program is also active. Okay. First activate all the dependent includes. Okay. Clear? Now go back. Now your function group is active, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
There is another simple way. We have object navigator. Transaction code is SC80. Object navigator, from where you can access different types of applications like data dictionaries, function groups, programs, everything from here. Only thing is go to SC80, select what type of object you wanted to access. For example, function group. Enter the function group name, press enter, right? Right click on it and activate. It will activate function group in a single step. Clear? What is the function? What is the transaction code for object navigator?
SC80.
SC80 is the transaction code for object navigator. You can access programs also from here. You can change or create programs from here. Okay, is it all clear? Now create a function module. You can create from object navigator also. Select function group, right click on this and create function module. You can create a function module from object navigator as well. Okay, from here SC37 create it. What is the function group?
Web demo.
FM. Save it. Continue this. Now, what can you find inside a function module? Description, function group. The other important options are processing type. Processing type nothing but type of the function module. What type of function module? Regular, regular or normal function module, remote enabled, update task function module. Okay, these are the three different types of function modules. Select relevant function module type based on the requirement. Okay, next import. What is import option?
We pass the inputs.
To pass the inputs. Import option is used to pass the input. Function module. What kind of inputs? Variable, work area like input or table. Okay, we can pass either variable means single value, work area a record or internal table like data, right? Multiple records as input. Okay, Next one, export. What is export? To return the output. Okay. Same here. We can return variables, work areas, or internal table like data. Okay. As output. Clear? Changing. It's combination of import plus export. That means you can pass one value as input and do some calculations and change that value and return that. Okay. 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 Pass the value as input and return the updated value as output. Okay. Tables. What is the use of tables? Tabular data. When you need to pass tabular data as input or return the tabular data as output, multiple records as output. What is the parameter we have? Tables parameter, but it is outdated. Okay. It is outdated parameter. Okay. So SAP is not recommending to use a tables parameter. So we have alternative. We can achieve same in using import or export. Okay. For that we need to use table type concept. Okay. Is everyone able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Exceptions. What is the use of exceptions?
To rise the error messages.
Error information.
To raise the error or return the errors occurred in function module. Okay. So by using exceptions, you can return the errors occurred in function module. So when you start executing the function module, within the function module, there is some error. How can you capture that error in the program, calling program? By using exceptions. How can we capture that exception? Using sy-sub rc. Okay, using sy sub rc, we handle the exceptions. How can we handle exceptions using sub rc? After function module call, if sub rc equal to 0 means success, no error. Not equal to 0 means that might be 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Each number represent one exception. Okay, each number represent one exception. 0 means no exception. If there is any number means there is some exception raised in the function module. Then what is it mean?
Not equal to error.
Exception raised in the function module. Right? Based on the number, we can handle the exception. Okay. For first exception 1, second exception 2 like that. Okay. Source code. What do we do in source code?
Logic.
For business logic.
Implement the code by using the import, export, changing our tables parameters. Okay. To raise the exception, we use a keyword called raise and exception name. Okay. Raise and exception name. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes.
Now let's create a function module, one simple function module. Let's assume our requirement is to modularize adding two numbers so that developer doesn't need to write same code again and again in different programs. They can reuse these function modules wherever they need to add two numbers, right? Now, do we need any inputs for the function module for that? First thing, inputs are not mandatory to a function module. Even you can create a function module without inputs, right? If you want to execute any default logic. But if you want to execute logic based on some dynamic values, what you need to do? You need to add inputs, right? So what are the required inputs for this function module? Value 1 and value 2, right? To add two numbers. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, please remember we follow some naming conventions here. You can give any name for the input. But is it a meaningful name? No, right?
No.
What type of parameter we are providing? Importing parameter, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it a single value or is it a record or is it a internal table like data, multiple records? What type of input we are passing here? Single
Single
value, right?
Single value.
value. Yes.
Let's give like this. I means importing, V means it represents a single value variable. Score value 1. Okay? Or you are passing on complete record as input, right? What is the naming convention we can follow?
Work,
Yes.
work area.
Yes,
Yes.
structure. Okay,
Okay.
it is not mandatory. It will take any name, but follow some naming conventions. That's how we do in projects. Okay. For example, you are passing internal table data as input, means collection of records as input. Use IT. So that by looking at the parameter name itself, you can easily identify what type of data it is going to accept. Okay, clear? In few projects, they might follow different naming convention. Okay. Now, what is the type of this parameter? Type. What is the type? What we can pass here in associated type? Either data element or provide any
Structure.
predefined type like this. I integer. Okay. Or you can also pass data element. Okay. Is it all clear?
Yes.
Default value. If you want to pass any default input, you need to pass default value here. For example, 10. It will act as a default value. Okay. Is everyone clear?
Yes.
Now we have one option here, optional. By default, it is selected it as optional. What do you mean by optional? This input is optional. Even if you don't pass this input, we can execute the function module. How can you make this input as mandatory? Removing optional checkbox. Okay, by removing the optional checkbox, you can make this function module as mandatory. Okay. Now there is pass by value. Yesterday we have gone through this concept, right? Pass by value and pass by reference. If you use pass by value, it creates separate memory for this input parameter. Okay. Otherwise, it will take reference from the calling program. Okay. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now IV underscore value to type I. I'm not providing any default value. Value to. Okay. I'm not passing any default value. So now I'm not selecting this optional checkbox. That means at least one input is mandatory. This is optional. If you don't select this, it will be a mandatory input. Without this, we cannot pass any data. Okay. If you remove default value, as long as there is a default value, optional become by default. Okay. It makes it as an optional parameter as long as there is a default value. Okay. If you remove default value, you can choose whether it should be optional or mandatory parameter. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we are providing the input, but what is the output? Output is the calculated value, right? In which parameter we define the output? Export parameter.
Export.
What is the naming convention we follow? For example, EV or ES or ET. Okay, based on data. If it is single value, use EV underscore output or any meaningful name. Type. What is the type? Integer type. Or we can provide the data element name here. Output value. Again, same concept. Do you want to make it as a reference or pass by value? If you select it as pass by value, for this variable, sorry, for this parameter, it will create a local memory in the function module. Right? Clear? Now, I'm not using changing parameter tables. Exceptions. So when we raise exception, for
Override
example,
method.
I'll add one exception here. No data exception. Okay, no data exception. If you pass any value that is less than 2, I want to raise an exception. You have to add exceptions here. Okay. Now tell me the sub-RC numbers for this exception. If you raise the first exception, sub-RC will be 1. If you raise the second exception, sub-RC will be 2. If there is no exception, what would be the sub-RC value?
0.
0.
0. It is not mandatory to add exceptions, right? Exceptions are optional. Now go to source code. What can you observe here? Import, export, and exceptions. Now, how to write the source code? From where you need to pass the value to where to which parameter? This one, right? Exporting parameter. EV underscore output equal to what is the logic? IV
Value.
value 1 plus
Value 2.
IV score value 2. Whatever the inputs provided by the user. So whatever the inputs provided by the user, we pass that value. Okay. Are we raising the exceptions? We define the exceptions, but are we raising the exceptions?
No, sir.
Defining exceptions is not enough. You have to raise the exception. So what are the exceptions we are using? No data exception is one. If IV underscore value 1 is initial, and if what we need to raise? Raise
No data.
no underscore data. That's it. Okay. I'll just add R condition here. Initial. Okay. Just use R condition, raise no data. Okay. How to raise different exception? If is less than, what is that exception? Less than one. Sorry, less than two, right? Is less than two. If user pass any value that is less than two, what we need to do? Raise this exception. Okay. Anyone. Okay. Anyone contains value less than two. Okay. You are going to raise this exception. Clear? Sorry, there is a typo. No data, not date. Now check the function module. Activate the function module. Now your function module is active. I told you, right? We can execute function modules independently. How to execute? Go to this. Test or execute. Provide the inputs 10, 20 and execute. It returns the output. Okay. This is to test the function module or execute the function module. For example, I am passing 1 as input here. So what is the expected output? It raised the exception. Yes or no?
Yes.
Value less than 2. It is raising a exception. Okay. So the function module, there is something wrong with the function module. There is some error in the function module. Error in the sense not in terms of syntax, right? But in terms of data. Okay. Function module is correct. Functionality, there is some issue in the functionality. Okay. Now, how to call function modules in program? I think we are already having one program, right? Adding two numbers. We have two parameters. Let's make it as integer. Please make sure you have to pass same type of parameters in the program. Whatever the parameters you defined in the function module, you have to pass same type of parameters here also. Okay. Otherwise, what it's going to happen?
Runtime
Runtime
exception.
errors. You are going to get runtime errors. Okay. Here I am calling the function module. How to call a function module? Don't confuse. Our parameters are inside the include program. Okay. For now, I'll just take these parameters. I'll comment this include program or remove this completely. Okay. We have two parameters, value 1 and value 2. Now we need to modularize it. How to modularize it? By calling function module, right? How to call a function module? Go to pattern and provide function module name. Okay. Call function, select call function and provide function module. Okay. Because these two are mandatory, these are enabled. If it is an optional parameter, you can see it as a commented options. Okay. What you need to pass? Any variable, parameter or work area depends on the type. Please make sure whatever the value, what do we call this parameter? Actual or formal? The actual parameter data type should match with the formal parameter data type. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Enable this code, uncomment data lv underscore output type I.
So semicolon.
Okay. If it is object oriented ABAP class method, we can pass like this using inline declaration. But inline declaration is not going to work here. Whatever the data you're returning, again same, the data type should be same, common. Okay. Otherwise you will get runtime error. Okay. For example, I'll make it char length 10. It won't show you any error. The data type is different, right? Is it going to show any error? No. But when you execute the program, it will give you runtime errors. Okay? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Changing back to integer. Activate it. Now, how to handle the exception? Using subrc check after function module call. If subrc equal to 0, that means
Success function module.
no errors in the function modules. No errors in the function module. Else if sy hyphen subrc equal to, sorry, 1, relevant message. Okay. Type error message. 2 means value, input value is less than 2. Okay. If it is successful, just display the output. Okay. Okay. execute, pass the inputs. I kept a breakpoint at function module. Now tell me what will happen if you press F5, what will happen if you press F6, and what will happen if you press F7 and F8.
If we press F5, it's go to the function module inside the.
Yes, it will go inside the function module. You can debug line by line. If you press F6, it will complete function module execution in a single step,
Finished.
and it will controller will stop here at line number 30. If you press F7,
Returns the main program.
but we are already there in the main program, right? What happens if you press F7 now?
Display the output.
It will complete the program execution. Now in this scenario, F7 and F8 are same. If you press any of the button F7 or F8, it will complete the program execution because you are in the main program only, right? For example, I'm going to press F5. It is going inside the function module. Now I don't want to debug further. If I press F7, what will happen?
Returns
It
the
will
main.
return to the main program.
Right.
Okay. It will complete the execution and return to the main program. Now what is a sub RC? Sub RC is 0 after function module call. This is the output. Okay. Let's say I'm passing 1 as in. I'm pressing F6. Or if you want to see, go by F5. I'm pressing F5. This is less than 1, right? Less than 2, right? It is raising a
Yes.
exception, right? Function module call is completed. Sub RC is set to 2. Okay. That means there is error in function module execution. That's not syntax error. Okay. Error by functionality. There is syntax error. Function module even we cannot activate it. Okay. It will raise a error message. Clear? This is how we raise the exceptions to handle the errors within the function module. The same function module can be called multiple times in different programs. Okay. What you need to make sure the type, whatever the data type you are passing, the actual parameter should match with the formal parameter data type. Go and check in the function module definition here. What is the type you are using here? Right? In exporting, what is the type you are using? Okay. Let's change it to length 10. I can activate no errors F8, pass the values 20, execute. Now what is expected output? F6 runtime error, right? Because we are passing parameter with a different data type. Okay. Type conflict error. Mostly you will get type conflict errors. Where can you check these runtime errors?
ST22.
ST22.
ST22. ST22. If you scroll down, it will give you more details about the error. What happened? It is terminated. Error analysis. Why it is terminated? The function module defined in a such a way that only particular type is accepted, but for this field, but we are passing different type. If you want to see the exact place where that is happening, go to source code extract. It will give you exact line of code. Okay. If you see these arrow marks, right, it will point where that exception is raised. Okay. If you double click on this, it will take you to the code. Okay. Clear? Is everyone clear? Or if you want to trigger a debugger, here you have an option. Click on debugger. It will trigger a debugger again. Even though you don't set the breakpoint, it will trigger the debugger for analysis. Okay. Where it will set that breakpoint? where that runtime exception is raised. It will set at the specific point. Okay, clear? But you cannot debug further, but it will just raise the debugger to check the values. What are the values you are passing here? Okay, because you don't have option to debug further. Closing it. Okay, is everyone clear? Runtime analysis very important in support projects. Okay, that's about creating basic function modules and different options in function modules. It's very important topic, right? You're going to get a lot of interview questions from the function modules topic. Okay. In the next session, we'll create function modules for some business requirement. Okay, and create a program, a complete program. Okay. So whatever the validations, business logic, moving forward, we are not going to write in the main program. We are going to implement that in the function module and we are going to call that function module in the program. Okay.